to buy the new car, the new phone, the new house, you have to work
you
harder.
work longer and work harder and
you
get
faster,
more
and you've got to
jobs.
get more clients, and then you've got to get your target out there quicker, and you end up in this place where you look back and you're like, what the heck's going on? Everything's chaos. Everything's rushing at me at work. Everything's rushing at me outside of work. And
Is it?
wait, is this thing on? Are we on?
Yeah.
Come in.
Hey, what's up, guys? What's up?
Yo.
Laka, nice to see you again. Last week we spoke about seeking God and seeking Jesus, and I felt it was kind of good, and that kind of led us to a place where we, one of the things that we briefly mentioned in there is that you kind of have to just for a second switch off the hurry, switch off the hustle and bustle, just all the rush that we have, and you got to go sit with Him. So go check it out if you haven't. So this week we just want to talk about the culture of rush, culture of hurry that we have in our society. I don't know. What do you think about it?
It's like such a big thing actually. It's such a we mentioned this I think once before, one of our episodes before. I know we've spoken about it as well, and it goes on with this. It's like the culture of now the word is literally just slipped my mind, but like having to get the next best thing, having to grow.
Yes, you like keeping up with the Joneses.
You have to. If you don't, you fall behind. And that's part of it, and that's what rushes. I mean, we have to, to buy the new car, the new phone, the new house. You have to work harder.
Work longer and work harder and
get
more
faster,
jobs.
And you've got to get more clients, and then you've got to get your target out there quicker, and you end up in this place where you look back and you're like, what the heck's going on? Everything's chaos. Everything's rushing at me at work. Everything's rushing at me outside of work, and I think.
And the quality of life just absolutely diminishes.
Exactly.
And the main thing that happens when you live in that rush is that you don't have time to sit down and walk with Jesus in the garden of your heart, like we mentioned last week.
Exactly. I mean, it goes for pastors and whatever as well, and people who work at churches and whatever. I think even sometimes even more so. They've got such a burden for other people's heart and doing functions in the church. That they do that. They rush through functions in the church because we've got to get from one program to the next program, and the church has done this now we've got to go to this, and now we've got to, because otherwise we're not growing. And I think that it's so important if we want to, like we said in the last one, if we want to spend time with God, walking, in that garden, and you wanted to spend time sitting with Him and just being in His presence, you've got to slow down. You've got to stop, otherwise. It doesn't work.
And it's not just a once a day even. It's like even if you keep the Sabbath or you take one day a week and just chill, you can't just rev it into the red for 6 days and then expect to chill for one day. Your mind won't switch off, and you need to change your lifestyle.
There's a movie that we love in our family. We love called Accepted. It's about these guys who don't go into college. They create their own college, and there's a one dude. His nickname is ADD because he has ADD, but his name is also Abernathy, whatever. And he wants to learn to, like the one girl, her course that she creates is just slowing down because her whole school career from preschool was all about getting into Harvard or Yale or whatever it was in America, and she didn't get in. And she just doesn't. So she creates this thing where she's got to slow down and she wants to meditate and she wants to do all these things. And this other dude, the ADD dude, joins. That's one of my favorite scenes. And he walks over and he says, "Can I join the class?" And she says, "Sure." He sits down and he goes, "Oh, that was amazing." And it reminds me of this. I think we as people are we want to slow down. We want to do this. But we have such heaviness of everything.
Such a culture
of having to rush. Otherwise you get left behind. Is so heavy on people that we do that. We run over, we go, okay, church, pastor preaches on Sunday about slowing down. Podcast talks about slowing down. So we slow down. And we run over, we go, okay, I'm going to slow down. God, that was amazing.
And then you carry on going.
Run off, and you kind of miss the boat,
100%. No, it's so interesting because one thing, I can't remember where I heard it, but someone said that, I think it was on a podcast, they said that back in the day, like before cell phones, before telephones even, you used to, if you wanted to communicate with someone on the other side of town, or let's say even in another town, you would take half an hour to an hour, you would write a letter, then you would take that letter, fold it, put it in the thing, get on your horse or go walk to the post office, and that would take half a day. The process of trying to make communication or contact with someone else take half a day. Today, I pick up my phone, I type a message and send it within 30 seconds, and I've done exactly the same. So now we kind of get tricked into this thing, wow, I've got all this spare time, and I can do all this more stuff. But we as people weren't wired to process the amount of information that we get daily. Because I mean, if you, the Facebook feed and YouTube feed and the information that we have access to,
emails,
you can literally in a day learn more than what someone in the 1800s could learn about basically anything in a year. If you had to, like, let's say, okay, I know nothing about guns, which is not true because I know everything about guns.
I don't know everything, but
a lot. So, but now let's say I know nothing about it. Well, let's say drums. I really know nothing about drums. But now I go and I search the history. So for the first 2 hours, I understand the history of drums, where drums came from, how the different types of drums, how to play drums, and by the end of the day, I can, if I've got rhythm, I can be proficient in playing a beat, and I have a wealth of knowledge about drums. When in the old day, you had to go sit with people and you had to learn, and it was so much slower.
But I think, I agree with you 100%, and I think that the thing that is the difference, the big difference, and I think it's fantastic that we have, we in our education centre do allow children to Google things. No, you don't Google what 1 + 1 is. You need to learn how to add and all that. But there are certain things you're like, okay, well, you don't know, okay, go and see what Google says. Learn how to use Google, because this is the world we live in.
That is the world we live in.
Spell check is more important, or spell check is happening more than learning spelling words. When I was in school, I had to learn the capitals of Africa, of all the countries, and then all their capitals. You don't need that. Okay, first of all, they change so much now; it would be a waste of time. But you can just Google that kind of thing. But I think back in the day, when they took their time to sit with that person, their quality of knowledge after 20 years was better. Now we have a quantity of knowledge, so we know everything about that topic, but you know nothing. Surface, and you bring the gun thing up, and it's 100% like that. I have a basic understanding. I know gun safety. I know the very basic understanding. But when I got my rifle, I was looking into it, and being that it's an old rifle, I'm like, what? There is so much. But if I can put it there, if I can say, there's information, and there's like, let's say there's streams, there's the purists, and you have to keep it this way, and the guys, and then there's the hunters, and then there's the modifiers, and everyone is saying something different. So I have this massive amount of knowledge about this rifle.
Opinions and everything,
But which one is actually right, which one actually works, I don't know, because this guy say you can't use that one, then you cannot, these guys, I'm using that one. And I think that happens, we don't slow down to learn to use the rifle and shoot, and I was blessed, I've hunted now this season without a scope. Which reminds me, I must tell you about another possible hunting thing. I'm not sure what that story is, but possible.
Exciting.
But I learned to use it. So I learned that it had to be close, and having now had conversations, and I have got a scope, and they're like, the guys are saying, like, no, you have to get your scope on, because then you can sit at 300 yards and you can plug, and sit 20 in a day. First of all, I can't pay for 20 in a day. But I also feel like maybe I'll be missing the experience of having to be right there, having to stand still,
just slow down,
and just wait because they're watching me, as opposed to I could just sit from where I was sitting, look through the scope, and pull the trigger. You know what I mean? That
the experience is
exactly
much more.
It's a better learning curve than just bringing information.
It's a worthwhile experience.
Exactly, and I even had it now when I changed bullets. When I went from the 180 grain to the 150 grain. So the size of the bullet, the weight of the bullet, it was a big thing. I could read up all the knowledge. Everyone was saying, it make no difference. That rifle is so powerful. It made a difference.
Yeah, it made a big difference.
Substantial difference, actually. I only learned that because I experienced it. And it took slowing down and going, I'm not buying and putting and doing these things to my rifle before I go. Because I could have. I could have rushed, and I could have had to fetch my rifle the day before the hunt, and then, whereas I went, we'll sort that out after the season or whatever. Let's just enjoy the time now. I learned it, and I'm not saying I'm not putting a scope on. I am going to put a scope on, but I now know the value of not having the scope. So when I have the scope, I have the value of it. And I think even with the Bible, and I think people are so. Let me say this: I love my phone. Okay, not necessarily my brand, but I love that I have a Bible on my phone. I don't have to page through and struggle. And the verse is in Luke. I Google where's the verse? Luke 10. I've got Luke 10 on my phone. I read it. It's quick like that. I've got the answer to the question. I've got that. It's very practical. But how much am I learning of that word? Am I learning the context of the scripture then?
Yeah.
Not necessarily, because I'm not reading the story.
Yeah.
I'm going straight to the one where
also,
Jesus wept.
You won't.
I don't know why he wept, what he was weeping for. I just know that that's the shortest verse.
And also, you don't have any incentive to remember where that scripture is because you'll just Google it.
Exactly. And I'm terrible like that. I'm terrible with remembering scriptural reference.
Yeah.
I have an understanding of the Bible and an understanding of God, and I'm like, okay, the word says this, I don't know where it says that. I have to look it up because I don't know that, because I didn't force myself to learn that. I learned when I got, as soon as I could get the app on my phone, I got it years ago because it made it so much easier.
So I did something really radical and turned my smartphone into a dumb phone. I changed the color so it's just black and white.
I was going to say, not only that, I was about to say, you also went back to the 1800s or whatever it was, black and white.
If you guys, maybe I'll try to zoom in, but my phone is literally black and white. There's no color. Because the colors were created to stimulate me and to find what. Oh, wow, yes, I haven't looked at Instagram in a while. Let's click on that.
Is that bright?
Now it's like not there. Not that Instagram is there because I deleted all my social media. Not that I'm not against it at all. I love Facebook and I love YouTube and stuff, but it's on my laptop and it's on my TV. I don't have it on my phone. If I want to YouTube a video, I'll go sit in front of the TV and I'll sit on the couch and watch the video and stuff. Whereas here, it's shorts and it's look this, oh, look at that and that and that and that, whatever.
4 hours on end.
It's like 4 hours later, and I've had this dump of information thrown onto me, and my brain is fried, and I can't even think straight. And then, not only have I fried my brain, but I've wasted 4 hours.
And
so I don't even have an internet browser or an app store on my phone anymore. So I can't even download new apps.
You went extreme, Gus. So
it's really a dumb phone now. And I tell you what, it feels like I've been set free. And I'm not against any of those apps. Those are really cool. But they take so much of your time. And at the end of the day, when you have a free product, you're the product.
Yeah.
So Facebook is not you don't have a Facebook product.
You're not running it, it's running you.
Their goal is to have you use it as much as possible because they make money off of you using it, because they show you ads and they charge that person money to show you the ads.
Yeah.
So back to the point. We went on a tangent there, but the point is, because of our culture of rush and constant on the move, we don't sit down and actually just walk with God in the garden of our heart. We don't spend time with Him, because that's where true happiness comes from. That's where true peace comes from. The world would want you to believe that the next car, the best, I must upgrade my car because then I'll finally have peace. Or I'll find happiness. Or, I must get a new gun and then I'll really be happier. Or, I must get a new this. And that's just not the truth, because you get it and then you quickly find out that, oh no, I was sold short because I've got this thing now, but I'm not happy, or I don't have more time, or I don't, because oftentimes we buy stuff for convenience so that we have more time, but we can't handle all this extra information that we've now given ourselves, and then you find yourself, because this is the same of the century, I just don't have time. This is go ask anyone to do something that they're not doing. I don't have time.
I'm super busy. I don't have time.
I don't have time. Why don't we have time? We have all this technology that is supposedly giving us so much more time. Why don't we have time? Because we just, there's too many things that we try and get involved in, and there's a false sense of time that you get when you don't actually have this extra time on your hands.
Yeah, so, and I think especially like it's a little bit different for me because I live alone. I always talk people I try and give advice to people who live alone as well, who are recently living alone, that kind of thing, for whatever reason. Yeah. I'm like, there are things that you can do that make your house sound fuller, and like, and it doesn't have to be someone who lives alone. Even if it's someone who's like, for example, my sister, her husband's at work, and so she gets home at 3 o'clock or whatever, and he's only coming home at 9 o'clock at night, and it's her big house is quiet for hours on end. I'm like, put the TV on, put the radio on. Put the radio on, whatever. I have things that I use my phone, and then I'm not just sitting on my couch on my phones. I have, so I'm not saying I'm a saint, but I also at one stage went, I need to reduce what I'm doing here and find other ways, and I took the brightness down and I changed it so I feel, if I am on it, but I'm not feeling as chaotic, because I find for myself I get distracted in these little worlds, especially when you're looking at reels on Well, I now want these shoes.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that sounds weird. That's not like something a woman would say, but
Yeah.
you see these black leather boots or these or whatever, and you're like, yes, so I
clever
boots, and I'm like,
marketing.
and I'm like, I've got to like fall back from that,
Yeah.
I've got to make space and make time to do that. And I think one of the things I do often as well, I get distracted. I play YouTube, music. I love Afrikaans music and treffers and all these things and country music. Then I'm like, well, I haven't had worship.
Yeah.
I've got to do those kind of things. I think there's a way of using both of them.
Yeah.
So put
I just want
worship
to
music on.
but even I just want to take a moment. I'm not against even
Yeah,
just mindlessly
100%.
scrolling. Like you can have your little break in a day if it's like, because I mean,
if you can control it to that little break.
Oftentimes you find out, oh, my cousin did this, or my aunt in Durban did this, or whatever, and you stay up to date with the family, and there is definitely a positive side to it. But when you find yourself scrolling for hours,
mindless stuff,
and you start catching yourself saying that I don't have time, then you need to relook, because something is stealing your time.
Exactly, 100%.
And
And I was going to say, I think this is exactly what point I was going to get at. Like, I feel like, and this sounds weird, when I put worship music on, or like I'm not a big reader, so I don't actually sit down and read the Bible. But I do read scripture of the day, and I read, or preparing for a sermon, or for youth, or whatever, and I'm doing those kind of things. But I feel like when I put the worship music on, I realize that after like 10 minutes, it's only been 10 minutes, I feel like I've had this super deep connection, and 4 hours worth of, that feeling of 4 hours of music is in 10 minutes. I put it off, and I'm like, okay, well, I must go do this now, and I realize, wait a minute, it's only 6 o'clock, And I put it on at like 1:45, and I'm like, why is it? Because there's a deepness of a connection. That's there. It's not just the mindless stuff, and I think that's part of the key.
Yeah, we need that connection.
The connection absolutely, but that mindless just scrolling is a time waster.
It steals your time, and the thing is, you think that it relieves you, and it might in the moment relieve you, but by the time you stop after 4 hours, your mind is like slush.
Exactly. You've got so much information going there, you don't know what to think.
And you don't know, then you feel 10 times worse than what you felt in the beginning.
Whoever they are, they say you must put your phone, you mustn't look at social media half an hour before you go to bed.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be watching series half an hour before you go to bed.
Let your mind.
Let your mind settle before you actually go to sleep. And I mean, most of us lie in our bed on Facebook before we go to sleep,
Yeah, how many times have I fallen asleep with my phone going like this, and then falls, and then I get a fright, because I'm watching a video while I'm falling asleep.
Now, see, I don't do that. I can't fall asleep like that. So I will lie on there. But I'm exhausted. My eyes are sore. I have to put it down. And then I'm like, I struggle to go to sleep because my eyes have a headache because I'm down. All I'm seeing in my mind is this content,
Yeah, 100%. So, I almost want to say, in the culture that we have, it's impossible to be on our phones less. We need to change our lifestyle. We need to change the culture that we live in. And once we start walking in that, once we start spending more time with God, once we start spending more time meditating on His Word and finding out what He wants, and letting His Holy Spirit put something on our hearts and things like that, you will find that you get true peace, then you get true joy, and your life all of a sudden, maybe it's still fresh, but I don't miss Facebook. If I do miss Facebook, I can just go on my laptop and I can quickly catch up, because then it's intentional. And if I sit there for half an hour, it's fine. But it's not like my phone that I can walk around the house and scroll and put on the kettle and scroll and make coffee and scroll and whatever.
100%.
And you can actually just
100%.
allocate time to do this and then leave again.
And that's good balance. That's control. That's you controlling it and not letting it control
100% you.
And that's
100%.
What we need. We need that with everything, I think. That's an across the board kind of. It's a huge topic, but it's across the board. Finances, jobs, families, churches, hobbies. It's all the same thing. We need to control those things.
And the only way that we can control those things is when I feel that the Holy Spirit leads us.
100%.
And we are submitted to Him, because He can control those things.
And I don't think it's one of those little, learn the small and the big, your benefit of the big. If you can't control this little thing here with social media, how are you going to control something that is so much bigger, You're going to let it eat away your time.
100%. So change your culture, change your lifestyle, so if you find you don't have time, don't get another app, delete the apps.
Delete all the apps. Exactly.
Just delete all of them. Just
go black and white.
Even if you don't delete all of them, just take a week and just do like a detox of your phone. And if you can't do that, then it shows the extent.
Stand correct, but I think with iPhones, there's this thing you can put on when after a certain time on social media, where it notifies you. Meaning you've been on here for an hour.
Yeah, so you can do that.
So I don't know if I can do that on Android.
Is it asks you permission to then.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it might remind you that.
Yes.
It might be the first step to remind you, to teach you to. Yeah.
So I did that and then it didn't work. So now I've put a passcode on and I don't know what the code is. So gave it to my wife, said, put in a code and don't tell me what the code is. So if it runs out, runs out.
You're giving his wife a control.
Last night at 9, my phone went off and I couldn't use it until 7 o'clock this morning. So, and it's awesome. So, but anyway.
Lekker.
Lekker, guys.
Cool.
God bless you and we'll see you in the next one.
Lekker.